YouTube video time. Oh yeah, we're doing GME. We're not doing ES today. So, in the last video I did, I believe we were like right around this stage in trend. And I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but I believe the TLDR from that video was to expect to fail around 21.9. But at the same time, we needed to break this low in order to have a more bullish bias. Or it was this one right here, 21.89. And because we broke this, this gave us a signal that we should look to, buy the dip fearlessly, because that is a signal that this was not a wave 4, rather a wave 1 out of a very elongated correction from the very, very top of this move here all the way down. And because we cracked this, this told us that we were bullish. And that's what happened, right? We cracked it and then obviously up and away from there. So what I want to do today is basically pick up where we left off from here and try and forecast where we can go. This is a bit of a random chart. I mean, I won't really explain this. I did this in like a video at some point last week, but let's go to a clean one and just start from the top. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm using a microphone, good one. God, so many ridiculous levels. First off, before we do that, I'm gonna go over just all the potential accounts I see moving forward. We're bugging out here. 1 second. Bugging out. So, a few possibilities. Let's clear all the smaller subdivisions out. Here are a couple scenarios. I would say this is most likely what we see on screen here, wherein this was the big flat correction, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 1, A, B, C into 2. We count this as a flat because we see A, B, C down, A, B, C up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. I'm not going to go too in depth about like what it should really look like. I mean, I've done this plenty of times, but that's one possibility. Another one would be, let's just hide this for a second. Another one would be 1, 2 there. This would be slightly more bullish, but it doesn't really change the bigger picture. We had 1, 2, and then this was 1, 2 as well, wherein we're big mid 3 right now, which is also highly possible. Again, what I'm showing you here doesn't really matter too much. It's just trying to make sense of the subdivision. And then another possibility, which I don't like this as much, but it's important that we consider it just in case. This would be a much more bearish version, wherein we have a diagonal into 1. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the top. And then we completely implode and we come down to a lot. When we break the low that was put in here at like 18.8-ish. I don't think this is what's happening, but I am going to lay it out just in case. The reason for this is we had a clear RSI trend break. And this is usually what I will use to indicate whether or not we are going to keep going or not. And I don't even know what levels these are, to be honest. I have a bunch of different charts, but we can see clear breakout of trend on a 4-hour. And this is very, very bullish. Usually this is what happens in your wave 3s as well, wherein, we might get some sort of action like this, but that's forecasting for another time. Point is, having broken out of this trend here on our side, this tells us that we are likely to see further upside. Yeah, that's just that on a really simple level. So what this means moving forward is, let's go back to, we'll count it like this, just because I think this is most clean. What this means from here, it's kind of tricky to count, because it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, this might have been the 4 here, and 5. But if that's the case, if we count it like this, then this would be into just a smaller 1, believe it or not, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into this 3, 4, 5 down. Another interpretation would be, if we go off of the previous one, wherein we are double 1, 2, we'll have 1, 2 like this, and we're still mid this 3, and this will likely look exactly like this, where we come down and test Friday's high of the day. But the important thing is, if this count is correct, we want to see, let me go to something that has like no drawings on it, so I can just be super clean and basic to the point. Clear enough. Okay, let's just clear everything. God, I can't wait to cook. I'm about to make some burgers. Right, I mean, you can draw some shit like this, sure, but what would be really very bullish would be to have this zone act as support. which you could make an argument that it did happen, but when it really starts to move and break out, we want to see this level hold as support. And again, we may have started it, but now we're going to be talking potential levels to the upside. And it gets a little bit tricky again because there are a few ways to count this. I'm just going to do it where we have 1 and 2 here, and then this is 1, 2 again. So in this instance, right, first off, this bigger degree levels we'd be looking for, if this is correct, would be wave 3 topping. In this instance, it would look like we're looking at the wave 3 in blue here that I'm talking. The targets I'm referring to. We'd be looking for that blue to top anywhere between 25.5 to 29.73, and if we look at it the other way, wherein it's the big flat. Again, this doesn't really change much, but I'm just outlining it because there's no real way to know which levels the algos are going to be targeting. So I just like to have a bunch of them up there. If this is the case, it would be looking for anywhere between 25.23 to 30.46. And again, this is just for the 3 in blue. I don't necessarily have a preference. This might be the correct one just because it is decently clean, but yeah, go back to this now. So we'll clear, we'll move this back down as such, like this. So we can also see that if we go and make this a little bit smaller, again, this is like, I don't want to say pointless, but it is in a bit of a tricky spot to nail a perfect count. But if we go like this, we can see that this was a higher low, marginally, but it was, and so that's why we had a very strong 3 to the upside, supposed 3. These are going to be tradable levels. You know, these will be very, very solid. As you can see, this is a perfect top that we got on Friday. But I would say 21.75 would be it would be nice to see this hold if we do see some sort of retrace towards the open. But as long as this low that was put in here at 1865 holds, much more upside is expected. And if it's even more bullish, it will not come below this low either at 1938. So these aren't not necessarily invalidation levels, if you will, but we want to see these hold if more upside is supported. Bigger picture, I think it makes sense to see this make its way up to between 28 and 30. But again, there will be a very, very strong sell-off most likely again, because for one, the exciting thing is we did break out of this very long-term downtrend, but remember, it's going to move in cycles wherein, we're going to move up to the upside in 5, which we are doing now on a pretty big scale. But once the 5 of 1 is put in, and this will be accompanied by momentum divergences, and we can't really forecast it too well just yet because we haven't really gotten like full-on breakouts wherein, but like, let's say hypothetically, this is the 3, we have 4, and then 5 is going to be a lower RSI rating where, like, again, just hypothetically, we can go 3, 4, and 5. Again, hypothetically. But if the RSI looks like this is going to be our signal that we're likely top of the wave 1 and there is going to be very violent sell-off. Again, just forecasting here. I don't know if there's too much else to add. I mean, I like to keep it pretty simple. I have been accumulating. I accumulated through all of this, and I ended up buying like a couple hundred. I think it was like 300 more around. I think it was like 20.1, 0.2-ish. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Those are nice and green. But I believe the real opportunity comes when we do put in our final high followed by the big sell-off. Because once this happens, this more or less affirms like everything, huge impulsive sequence is about to start. But we want to confirm that we're moving up in 5 and not 3, followed by a very strong sell-off. So time frame for this, I'd say maybe like a week or 2. I don't know, but we do seem to be moving pretty strong. And I don't really like to use indicators that much. I mean, for waves, all you really need are RSI. And I'm like, yeah, you can have your moving averages on and whatnot, but which one is it? Not info. This is implied volatility. Like, yeah, like you can have these on, I guess, but I don't think it's super helpful. And like from a super basic technical perspective, I guess you can also say it did break this super long-term downtrend, right? This was the breakout on Friday, finally. So that's another supporting case for the bullish side. But again, it's exciting and all. I want to see us move up above 25.5. It can get up to 30 plus, but I want to see this followed by a very extreme sell-off. If we see that, I am very excited, because then it's going to moon. And I can't really do targets for that yet because it hasn't really developed enough to really give us much. But these are going to be tradable levels for the week. You can look at them and take from this information whatever you will. We can scan for any interesting option activity. Maybe there was something interesting that I missed. I don't know. Let's make this into 10. I mean, nothing super eye-catching yet. This isn't like huge money flowing in at this time. When lots of deep in the money puts are sold off, will create positive upwards pressure, and then the same can be said about lots of high delta calls flowing in. These aren't necessarily super high delta because they are out of the money, but we can see that lots of 25 straight calls are being bought. I'm not going to do a whole options chain analysis right now. I can't be bothered. But okay, I think I've said enough. This is pretty much how I would look at it. I guess we can look at Ethereum Classic is usually like a good precursor to look at for runs as well. I don't know if this is probably, I guess it's moving a little bit, but yeah, I would say if Ethereum Classic breaks out, then that's like a very, very strong buy signal. And it looks like it's, in this big flagging pattern. But once I saw this start to break out, and this is like beginning of January, this is when I really started to amp up my buys, which might be like a bad signal, but hey, it worked. So if Ethereum Classic can get above its previous highs, like 23.8ish, 24, then that gives me much more confidence in memes continuing to go a lot higher. But this is a typical form of correlation analysis. I don't know why the fuck it does this, but I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So with that, I'll cut it off, but hopefully you found that somewhat useful and interesting. But from an account point of view, again, this is like much longer term, but we want to see more highs put in, and as we continue moving our way up, we would like to see divergences come in as well, which will help to time the top to an extent. Big sell-off, buying like crazy when this happens. That's about it. None of this is financial advice, by the way, obviously. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Yeah. Was there anything from here? I mean, like not really. I think I covered everything that I've like been talking about in here all week. But again, if you would like videos every single day, followed by actionable trades and very, very accurate levels, you're more than welcome to join us. We have a lot of fun in here. It's like a big trading floor. But yeah. Cool. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time.